mostly working as a QA and as a consultant solution architect. And over to now.
Hey everyone, can you hear me? Yeah. Cool. So I'm Nalini Kant, and people at ThoughtWorks call me Nal, so that has been my popular name for some time. You can use that as well. So Nal as in Null Pointer Expression. Yes, you can do it. That's the one. So I am a QA. I've been in the industry for like 6 years. Anything that is about QA that interests me. I do a lot of stuff in functional automation, performance, security, and all of that. So that way, this is one of the things that caught my eyes. So start.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you expect from this session? Quickly, any expectations? If you don't have expectations, I'm very happy. So after lunch, I got a nice excuse. If someone is sleeping in this room, I can simply tell the lunch is awesome. So people slept. It's not because my session is boring. But yeah. Cool. Any expectations? Quickly.
Basic about FA tools.
Okay.
Why visual testing?
Okay, we're going to cover that.
How is it leveraging AI?
Okay, we'll talk about it a bit, not deep.
Since it's a paid, then
what
why
they're
FA
using.
tool? It's a paid tool, I guess.
It is a paid tool, yes.
We'll talk about it. Why we are talking about a paid tool today.
Any alternatives, comparison with the alternative tools?
We'll do that a bit as well.
The open source equivalent.
Sorry?
The open source equivalent, if any.
Okay, the open source equivalent. Any other expectation? Cool. So quickly we'll talk about what is visual regression and what are the tools around that, and what are the pros and cons with various tools, and what Aptitude tools is, and how this tool is going to make our life easy. So this is what we'll talk about. We'll see a small demo on it. I'm not going very deep into the demo, but we'll see. Anyways, we are already in a time crunch, but we'll see until what point we can go. I'll definitely give you simple pointers on how to start it. Once you start, you can dig deeper as well. So any questions I'll take at the end of the session, because I think most of the questions will get answered down the line as you go with the presentation. So at the end of the session, questions makes more sense. Cool. What is visual testing, anyone?
Ensuring that the GUI meets the PSDs that have been supplied by the business.
So yeah, exactly the same, right? So how your graphical user interface on given any device that you're using, how it is what visual regression or visual testing is all about. So that's what it is. Let's keep it simple and not complicating this anything. So what do we test here is the layout, the colors, the sizes, the fonts, the resolutions with different resolutions of the application behaving. So that's what we'll be testing. Let's watch a small video. Shema, I think you have to use mic.
TW guest event.
I can't see any TW.
TW event? You can say?
No TW even. Wi-Fi here.
I think it has some problem. I cannot see that still. Wi-Fi.
I can't see any TWs on.
It has some
Wi-Fi.
technical issue. TW event guest and not available.
Data guest. Event. Nothing is available. I've just removed a class, so let's see what happens if I remove the class from my source code. Do you identify a visual change there? So let's go back and run our test. So these tests will pass, right? They apparently are functional tests, and we just get some text, get some elements and all of that, use the DOM and do all of this stuff, but we are not really caring about any visual part in this. So this is how a functional test will generally look like, even in our organization whenever we work with them, unless we have any integrations with Galen or any other tools. So these tests will say you're passed, but if you go to my ODCA page and see, right, so we have closed participation also, but we are still showing the submit talk button. So that gives users a misconception that there might be an acceptance for talks even now. So in a way that's not what I want my consumers or my users to look at. So match it to the real time scenarios. So this is how it depends on what you're missing on the UI can get crucial there. So I'll just quickly let me use this. So this is Fresh Apply Tools account that we have got. So I'm just copying the API key. So I'm using this API key to run this test. So this is the API key, and we'll quickly see. So if you look at the code,
Can you zoom in?
is visible now, or you want me to zoom in more?
Visible? Not visible.
So this is where we have added the code. So if you go into here and see, so we're just initiating ICE. So in initiating ICE, we are creating a new ICE object, and then we are setting up the API key. So as we have shown in the presentation. So that's what we are doing. And validate window will open an ICE, and then it will check the window. We'll look more about how to check other things. So for now I'll comment this, we'll come back here. So this is what it is. So I'll just go ahead and run this test. Give me a minute, I forgot to change the source code of the website. This is our original state. So since this is the first time when your test is running, so it will make the test as passed. So the imagination for Apply Tools is that since you are running this the first time, I am assuming that this is the baseline that you are giving to. So it happens with any browser, any different viewport that you run, right? It will not consider that, oh, I have that reference, I have to compare this, and then I have to make this fail or something like that. So what it assumes is, for you can see something in the bottom, like the Mac OS, the Chrome, and the viewport size, right? So viewport size is basically, I'll quickly show you. So if you go to your console or Chrome, so this is what the size is. So basically it is the size of the entire window space, that is removing all your toolbars and removing the bottom whatever my computer is using that space. So that is 1920 by 692 for this window, but if you see the window that our test opened, it is smaller, so it is 1200 by something that the Applitools is taking. So 1200 by 934, so this is what Applitools is taking. So this is what it considers as a baseline. So whenever we run the test next time, right? Cool. So if you look at it, it has taken an image. We'll just go there and make that change and then run this test. Cool. My website is updated and I'm just running this one test. So if you see at the bottom, there is a jar that has opened, so that's what Applitools jar is. So that will take the screenshot and it will actually talk to Applitools. So if you look at it, right, so your I can't analyze that, but if you look at that, your functional test has actually passed. But there is something else that has failed, the close eyes function. So what it says is, what it says is there is some diffuse exception that is found in the test and the detected references can be seen here. So it will give you that. So you can copy this and you can paste it in your browser, or you can go there and refresh as well. So I'm just copying this and then I'm pasting it in the browser. So if you go and see here, you have been thrown an exception that there are some differences that are found, but when you come here, you see it as unresolved. Why? Can someone answer this question?
We still have marked as whether it's passed or failed.
Yes. So this is where Applitools has thought it, gave a little thought. So if any of you have worked with Galen, so Galen does image-based comparison as well. But the problem with Galen is, whenever you use Galen, if I have taken a particular Chrome and particular viewport size that I've shown you, right? If I have taken that particular size and then I have given screenshots for that. So when it compares with other things, you have to give screenshots for every particular viewport that you want to compare against. Or you have to write code to say that given this viewport, these are the margins, this is the padding and all of that you need. So that is hell lot of thing. You might want to start it and write it, but what happens tomorrow, someone comes and changes few things in the design, few colors and all of that. You have to go and either recreate all the screenshots, or you have to just you have to write all the code again or change all the code again. So that is not there here. So this gives the leverage to the testers to go there and see, okay, this is my screenshot.
So this is where your test maintenance was, what I was talking about, comes in picture, right? So you have like 50 test cases fail just because of this, it will be just marked as unresolved. And with one click, when you approve that, that will be updating that base image to all the 50 test cases, and you don't have to do it again and again repetitively for all the 50 test cases that has failed for one reason. So that is where it will give you another leverage. So these are all AI based algorithms that they have implemented to come up with this. Definitely we don't have any insights to that, that is their
Yeah. So if you look at this, right, so it will show you like what happened, what is the difference. So here you have submit talk and there is a strike, and here you don't have that. So this is how it will tell you that what the difference has been, and we are talking about some levels, right? So there is something called as a pre-match level. So this is by default set to strict. So we'll go through what each is. So there is something called as exact. So exact is a pixel to pixel based comparison. So if you use that, it will compare every pixel with the other pixel. So in our real world, this is not recommended to use unless you want to compare a logo to, make sure it is pixel to pixel, unique. So the second algorithm is strict. So strict actually ignores the pixel to pixel comparison, but it compares everything from layout, colors, font, size of the text and all of that, font size and all of that. So even in strict you can see the error. And again, there is another level called content. So if you look at content also, here it is showing an error because there is a strike on submit talk. How it is useful for us is, for example, you are writing some terms and conditions. If you are working for an insurance company, it is very important for you not to miss anything. At that point in time, your terms and conditions page should have exactly what it is there previously and all of that. So if you are maintaining, if you are writing GUI tests to do such things, it will come into help. And there is something called as layout. So the moment I did layout, the error is gone. So the reason is, it will not compare fonts, text and sizes of the fonts in the layout. But it will compare colors, the way it is and all of that. It will not even compare colors. It's only strict will compare colors. It will just see whether the layout of that is proper or not. So if you go to any of these e-commerce sites or any of the Prime videos and all of that, right, you get this, what do you call that? The banner or there is
It
some
will
other.
keep changing, right?
Yeah,
So
it
you
will
don't
keep
have
changing, right?
dynamic
So-
content. You don't have to really check the dynamic content because it is just a placeholder. You don't really care what is there in that placeholder, but you want to see the layout does not change. I want some content to come here, but I don't care what content is coming. But it should not come. We saw one of the screenshots for Prime.
Prime, right? Yeah.
So it was overlapping. So there it will strictly tell you that okay, this is not there into the layout that we have. But content-wise, I don't want to do that. Today, some movie will show up there. Tomorrow, some TV series might show up there. Just a placeholder.
Yeah. So that's why it might be Baywatch today and Avengers Endgame tomorrow and something else tomorrow, right? I don't want to bother about that content. So these are the 4 levels that it will offer, and you can preset these levels even in code as well. So you can just say ice dot match level, and whatever match level you want, you can set that. So this is how it compares individual things, right? It is a full screenshot of the page that we are taking at the time of test. But what it can do is, so it can take whatever part you want. So that's what I've commented in the code. So if you go and set this viewport size, right? So it will take this particular viewport size and then it will take a screenshot. But as I told, it will not compare with the previous one. So next time whenever you run this test, right, with this particular viewport size, then it will go and compare with this. So that's how it does that. And the interesting thing is that only, I know what browser I'm working on, what viewport size I'm working on, and what OS I'm working on. So this, for web application, this makes the unique combination along with your match level. So match level is something that you can keep changing, but this is what it is. So because you have this unique way of doing this, it maintains the baselines automatically. So how does it maintain the baselines, right? So I just have it here. So this test is still unresolved. So there are 2 buttons here. So one is up and one is down. So if I make it down, it will fail. But if I make it up, right, so it will ask, you have successfully resolved all the steps. And then I will go and click it on save. So it says the test is passed. So next time if I go and run the same test again, oh sorry, if you see the test is passed. So that means it is actually picking the previous past test as, it's not previous passed always. But whenever there is an unresolved step, and then you as a QA go and says that yes, this is what I wanted, this is an expected behavior, so you mark it as S, then it starts picking that as an expected behavior and it converts the baseline to the new baseline, and your new test will automatically be passed.
Can I see all my baseline images?
Yeah, you can see all the baseline images, but that feature is not available in free. So there is a place where you can see all the baselines for that test, and you can see which baseline is actually being in place and all of that. So that also something that you can manage, but you need to buy Applitools for that. So this is how it manages the test, right? So that is how it is different from Galen. So someone was asking the question that how is it different from other tools and why we should use it. So the reason is, like, for us, if we have to keep maintaining all these baselines, writing code, and keep deleting screenshots and taking screenshots and putting it in again in our Galen folder, that is a lot of work. But this makes our life easy, so we can actually do it a one-click thing. So you get a chance to look at the page, compare it, and if there is any change that is intended, you can just say yes, this is the intended change, and then next time onwards it keeps picking that. So that's the beauty of it. So, and Shama is talking about looking at elements and stuff, right? So you can just say anything. You can just say that I want to check this particular element, I want to check this particular region. So you can do that also. You don't want to check the entire page, but I'm just concerned about this particular things. You can do that as well. When you do that, you get screenshots like this.
As you said, for the very first time, every test would be fast, right? Because it's like it would be taking.
Yeah, that's the baseline. So
don't we have any integration, in this tool so that we can, when any UI designer is designing a page, he put those images in some tool from where we can take the reference.
Yeah.
Because at the very first time we have to do it manually by our eyes, right? From second time onwards, it would do our task. But for the very first time, when designer is making the changes, or let's say creating a fresh page, so can't we just integrate it with those tools and verify it?
So yes, so that feature is there. So what you can do is there is something called as branching and maintaining these baselines with the branching. So what that does is, for example, you are developing your site, and along with your code itself, you can upload the baseline image as well. So that can be considered as your baseline for all the tests against which you are running. So that is there. That is explicitly for the it is not there for the trial version. So you can try that. And there is also a plugin wherein if you make any changes, it will also highlight the CSS changes in the code. So you need not to invest the time to also go back and see that what changes actually occurred due to which this failure has come. So it will also highlight that. It is a plugin, an add-in. So these are all there for your paid version, and it's not there for free version. That is the reason we could not demo that, but these features are available.
So add-in is free for Chrome, I believe. Huh? The add-in used to be free for Chrome.
No, I mean maybe, but since I started using it,
Yes.
I didn't get that.
So we recently checked it like last week for this
Yeah.
particular plugin.
Okay.
But that is an interesting.
Till about 2 years back, they were.
Yeah, till about 2 years back.
2 years
I've not used it since
Yeah.
then. So
Yeah, till about 2 years back, Applitools was in the market, but there. So whenever there is a change that has screwed up something on your UI, your developer has to check the previous commit and check what is the difference and all of that. So that difference Applitools will give you with that plugin. So you can see what is the difference between the previous baseline code and this code, what has changed. So it is very easy for developers to understand that particular thing, and they can go back and fix it. So that's interesting. Cool. This is how it will pick up the element. So it has just picked up the submit talk element here, and it's just a region. So it has just picked up that particular region which I have given there. So this is how you can actually pick up whatever you want, the entire screen, different viewport sizes and all of that. So that's interesting. So the only thing that you need to do is you need to decide on like what viewport sizes and all of that I'll make. And I forgot to tell you something. So depending on what we write here, we have to give it an application name and test name. So this is the same name that you see on the UI, verify theme test. So if you go here, that's what the test will tell, verify theme test.
It is for reporting and your understanding.
So not just for that, but say if I want to run this test for different viewport sizes and all of that, right? I want to take screenshots at the time of my functional test is running and all of that. So you have to make these names unique differently for our understanding. So that will anyways treat it unique. But if I name everything as this, I have to go there and check what this viewport is and all of that. So that place also it helps.
Is there an API that we can utilize for setting the test name or something along those lines?
Yeah, that is the API. So when you are
No, okay, just validate window.
yeah, validate window is a method that I wrote. So inside this you have the code. So when you call the
instead
open
of calling
otherwise-
open every single time, so let's say I'm initializing this only once.
So the name would be unique to a test case, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, I'll
So
be
for each
doing
test
this, say I'll be initializing this only once in add before method or add before test. Right, so if I'm setting it up at that point in time, or my
So functionality part, this is not going to check if it is clickable or not. It is just going to see the look and feel. That is it, right? It will just mention that this particular button was there previously, it is not there today, as of now. But it is not going to tell you that was it clickable then, is it clickable now? No. That your functional test will anyways capture, right? So that is out of scope for this tool.
So and I would say like I have never personally worked Phantom.js, worked with Phantom.js, so I don't want to comment on that. But today we have told what Apply Tools will give you, and you know what Phantom.js will give. You can compare and you can get those differences. So that will help in understanding more.
The things which free trial or suppose free trial the Apply Tools is giving, I think the same thing can be done by free source tools also. I think so, but I
Agreed. So yeah, agreed. I can do the same thing with Galen without a ₹0 cost, but how much of code maintenance will I put in? So you will take that hit somewhere, right? So as Shama was telling, can you manage content? Can you manage the layout, just the content? All of these things does matter.
Maybe I'll have to write code for that. At least in Gallons, I'll have to write code, separate code for
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm telling you. You will take a hit somewhere.
Yeah. So how much effort is a one person putting in? How much maintenance is he doing? And against how much time and effort you are spending here? So if you want to really get on the cost, you can really calculate and see the difference there as well.
The whole point of me liking Apply Tools is you give me 1000 resolutions. I can simply use this tool and I can make this release time same. I will not increase the release time even by an hour.
Not even taking
Maybe-
more
maybe
headache
by
and
more-
putting
day more.
efforts.
Yeah.
like does it have the capability like if we want to say ignore any content in the middle of the page, let's say there is a PDF report and the top in the middle or on the left side it shows the date of the customer's
Yes.
name for which it is generated, and we just want to ignore that particular section, like say
Yes, you can do that. For example, you have bills or something which you are producing. The name might change, the date might change, the quantity might change.
The price
You
might
can,
change.
yes, you can do that. You can ignore those regions.
You can ignore
we have
those.
to specify
Yes.
the coordinates or what, like
You just have to, yeah. So as I told you, there are different ways to do it. You can simply write something like validate by region and all of that.
It is there on the dashboard. I'm not sure if it is there for the free version, but there is some section called as region.
Yeah.
If you
So
go,
it is there. It is in there.
in the region, you can just drag and drop, and you can just highlight that region. It will just ignore it,
Like-
and it will ignore the
Yeah.
dates.
like this reason is like I'm specifying say top region, right? But
Yes.
like if I just want to do the complete page but not in one particular section of that.
Yes, there is there. I have personally seen the demo part of it, and also like for example, you have configured. It is configured for the if you see the Amazon receipts, maybe the seller will add his own logo, so that might change for each and every one. So I cannot put my test there and checks there, right? I want to ignore that region, so I might just ignore that region. So that is just layout kind of thing for me. So I can still put the regions and I can ignore regions, or I can only consider certain regions as well. That is there.
Suppose if there is scroll down, so it will capture all the
Yes. Yes, the entire page.
Entire-
If you want to capture only the certain part, I think Null showed that you can put the port size there and it will only capture that thing. or else by default it is going to capture the entire page. It will capture, right?
How will it capture?
It will capture
It is
now
capturing-
what is available on the user.
It is so think like code, right?
Right.
So when will it capture? It will capture when I say check this window. So whatever is available at that particular line, it will capture. So if you have to scroll, right, your like next line will be the scroll, and then you scroll. So it will get confused. So but at that time, whatever is available on the page, it will capture
So
that.
it does not do that for Chrome. I believe it does manage to do that for Chrome. That is the only thing.
I don't know. I haven't tried this.
Because with Firefox, by default, you get full screen screenshots anyway. With
There-
Chrome,
No, the
I
question is not
remember
about
full
full screenshots. So I
no,
have
but
a
the thing
page.
is, you have a full page, right? I mean, if you're comparing the page, full page to full page, I mean, if
No,
Chrome
the
by
question
default-
is I have a page,
Right.
I have something, I will scroll down to the bottom and then I want to check that.
See
Because
all the
because
content.
that will be out
See
of
all
the
the content here.
Out of the viewport, so
Yeah.
Down.
yeah, it will just take the viewport.
Yep.
So if you go to this right, so
Yeah, and further questions you can take offline because with
Yeah.
interest of time we have another talk to deliver.
So to verify the whole page, we have to scroll and take screenshot again and again.
yeah, we have to take it again and again. So that's the only thing.
That's a bit cumbersome thing, right?
Of
You
course.
don't know how much you already covered and then
How to check the fonts?
Fonts it will by default check if you put strict or content.
but here every tools take the screenshots. You are not taking. You can provide them
Content
as a
only.
baseline.
I think it-
But then I have to
Hey,
verify.
content also you should take.
content also. You can use if you want only content and font, you can use content. If you want with other things, you can use strict. Cool. Yeah, we
I
are.
think that is a wrap up.
Yeah, there is one more
Session.
session, but we are already right on time. So any questions? We'll take it offline.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah. Quickly, 3 minutes break. I don't want you to move up because it will take a lot of time.